Hey folks, how's it going? My name is Jonathan North. Today we're going to talk about the 100 common questions I get asked as an expat in El Salvador. I recently spent several months living in El Salvador. It's a small country. I took a bus around, I drove to the beach, I took a bus to Honduras several times through immigration, no problem. I wanted to share with you some of the knowledge I picked up during this extended stay in the country of El Salvador. And these are 100 common questions that I see a lot of people asking, and people have asked me over the last several months. So let's get started. Question number 1, is El Salvador poor? Yes, El Salvador is mostly poor. It's a country with low wages, with very little infrastructure, with high gas prices. Lots of people commute to work on just the bed of a pickup truck. You know, you will see a pickup truck with 20 people standing in the bed of it. Like I'm talking like a Nissan hardbody or a two-door Tacoma, you know, single cab with 20 people standing in the bed of it. Pickup trucks are just a normal mode of transportation in El Salvador. Is El Salvador safe? Generally speaking, no, it's not safe. It's a dangerous country. There are firearms everywhere. There is a lot of gang activity, and there's very little safety protocols compared to what you would see in the United States. Out of all the Central American countries, I would say, relatively speaking, safer than Guatemala, safer than Nicaragua, safer than Honduras for sure. Not safer than Costa Rica, and about more or less as safe as Mexico. Is El Salvador Mexican or Spanish? That's a silly question, but they speak Spanish. There's a lot of Spanish influence. Is it a third world country? Absolutely. It's in some parts of it. There are people living on $150 per month. What are Salvadorians known for? Recently, Bitcoin. They've adopted Bitcoin as their legal tender, but more historically, they've been known for pupusas, which is their famous dish. Never really cared for them, but never say that to an El Salvadorian; they will get very angry. Is Mexico safer than El Salvador? In specific spaces, yes, it's a bit safer, but in specific spaces, no, it's not so safe. In like the El Centro area, probably not as safe. In the tourist beach areas, probably safe or safer. I'd rather go to an El Salvador beach than a Mexican beach, that's for sure. And then in the ritzy parts, of course, there's private security everywhere. There in the wealthy parts of El Salvador, there's a gun on every single street corner, armed guard rather. Is El Salvador a good place to live? You can get a good quality of living in El Salvador. You can live a pretty solid life. It's lush, it's rainforesty, it's a beautiful place, but even up in the mountains, it's a very, very, very hot country. So if you can't take the heat, get out of El Salvador. It's hot. Does El Salvador have nice beaches? Yes, absolutely beautiful beaches. Nice tourist beaches, nice sand, beautiful breezes. Their beaches are nice. They're not like Gulf Coast nice, but they're pretty nice. What language does El Salvador speak? Spanish. They speak pretty solid Spanish, not a ton of slang, but normal. Are Salvadorians from Spain? No, they're not. They're descendants of a specific tribe. How rich is El Salvador? So I read that they were something like 9,000 or no. Yeah, 9,000 GDP per capita or something like that for El Salvador. That's half of Mexico, and it's definitely like 1/6 or 1/7 of the United States. So they scrape by on not so much. What is the poorest country in Central America? That's a tough piece of information. It seems like Nicaragua is probably the poorest country out of all of Central America. But now that I think of it, I remember a statistic that said El Salvador was the poorest country, and that sounds about right. It's just the smallest. It's the smallest country. What do El Salvadorians do for fun? Definitely, the highway to the beach in El Salvador is jam-packed on the weekends. So on the weekends, El Salvadorians love going to the beach. They also like nightclubs and bars. There were way more bars and nightclubs in El Salvador than Costa Rica or even Honduras. Honduras is even a hard place to drink, just because you have to be so cautious of your security. How beautiful is El Salvador? El Salvador is really jungly. There are times when you're just out in the middle of nowhere in El Salvador. It's super jungly, it's super beautiful, lots of nice lakes, and the lakes are nice, they keep it cool. It's a lush, beautiful, country. What's the main religion in El Salvador? They're Roman Catholics, the majority. You're either Roman Catholic and many Jehovah's Witness and many Jewish people. Who is richer, Mexico or El Salvador? Like by far, Mexico has far more natural resources than Mexico has way more than El Salvador, like hands down. No, there's no comparison. Mexico. If you think that Mexico is a poor country, you haven't seen the big cities. Many things are made in Mexico. It's a very rich country. Is Honduras or El Salvador safer? My opinion is that El Salvador is a bit safer. Honduras, I had a bad experience there, many of you know. Honduras felt like a rough place. The former president of Honduras is in prison in the United States right now. They arrested him and deported him. Is Colombia safer than El Salvador? So you're comparing a country of 60 million to a country of 5. So there's going to be pockets of Colombia that are safer and pockets of Colombia that are less safe. So it's a difficult comparison. But city to city, like, I would say El Salvador. Big city to big city, El Salvador is safer. Where do the rich live in El Salvador? Most of the rich are going to live in like the super rich are going to live in this neighborhood by Parque Maquilixhuat, which is in San Salvador. And then adjacent to that is like Colonia Escalon. Escalon just means the stairs, and it's up the mountain a bit, and it's much cooler. So Escalon and Maquilixhuat are the two regions in San Salvador where the very wealthy people are going to live. And then you will find pockets of wealth outside the country, outside the city, but that's going to be like, somebody's got 100 acres, but that's not really a definable area. These people just have tons of land. Who is the richest person in El Salvador? I read this earlier. It's Carlos Slim. I don't know. That's like some Mexican guy. I don't know why he's the richest, but are El Salvadorians white? I read something that 12% of El Salvadorians are actually in fact white, are descendants of the whites, whatever that is. Are there sharks in El Salvador? Obviously, yes, there are sharks, but it is a bit of a rare occurrence. Something like only 2 attacks have been reported in the last 100 years, so not a terrible amount of sharks. Why is the sand black in El Salvador? So you're going to see a ton of black rocks in general in El Salvador. Like the lava that's erupted from all the different volcanoes are turned into the sand, and then all those lava rocks that harden are igneous rocks or something, or metamorphic. I don't know. I don't remember 7th grade, but they turn into black sand. That's what I'm saying. How do El Salvadorians say hi? Always buenos dias in the morning, buenas tardes in the afternoon, and buenas noches in the evening is the common salutation. Just say good evening. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? Just very simple. You don't ever start talking directly to somebody in El Salvador. You always greet them respectfully first. You will be looked at as rude if you just start saying, hey man, what's up? Or you just start saying, hey, what's over here? People might just ignore you. What foods are eaten in El Salvador? Definitely chicken wings, known as alitas, and then pupusas, very common. Costillas, like ribs. People like ribs, but you never get like a full rack. You're not going to get like an Outback thing of ribs, costillas. You'll get just one or two. They like have them as a side, just like, standard greasy food. Are they Hispanic or Latino? That I don't know. I don't know the difference. Are El Salvadorians tall? There are definitely shorter people from Latin America. There are some cultures in Latin America that are very, very short, and there are very few that are tall. I would say that probably El Salvadorians are a little bit on the taller side as far as Latin America goes. What do they drink in El Salvador? Their main beer is Pilsener. If you call it Pilsner, like if you're used to the word Pilsner, they won't know what you're talking about. Pilsener. That's the common drink, the common alcohol. Pilsener, lots of coffee, juices, some horchatas. There are some Mexican undertones in the drinks of El Salvador. How much does El Salvador owe the U.S.? That's a strange question. But apparently the national debt of El Salvador is $22 billion. I had no idea. I just Googled that. $22 billion. What are the most common jobs in El Salvador? The main industry in the country is agriculture and manufacturing, obviously. Probably like making tires and raising crops. Those are probably the two most common jobs. What is the richest Latin American country? Ooh, that's a good... I'm gonna have to Google that one right on the fly here. Well, I guess if you look at all Latin America, it's Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, and then Colombia. What's the safest country in Central America? Tough to say. It seems like Costa Rica. Probably, Costa Rica's pretty safe. No place is real 100% safe, but Costa Rica or Panama are the two probably safest countries. What's the strongest country in Central America? Probably I would say Panama. I don't know how you evaluate strength of a country, but the fact that there's the Panama Canal in Panama, it seems like Panama could probably muster up some stronger friends if needed. What's the second poorest country in Latin America? Oh, that's probably Honduras. Do El Salvadorians celebrate Christmas? Absolutely. Christmas in Latin America is it's a great time. It's a good time to be in Latin America. What is El Salvador's culture like? It is definitely a machismo culture. It's a country where if you call someone an asshole in traffic, he'll get out of his car and punch you. It's really a no fooling around. It's not a culture of weakness. It's a culture of strength and not putting up with BS. A lot of it was shaped by the Civil War in the 80s. A lot of people grew up without parents. A lot of orphans from that Civil War. There's a lot of hardened people. Uh, and, people have asked me, do you get respect in Latin America? And I say, you don't get respect right off the bat. Your respect is 100% earned. But once you earn it, you've got it forever. So, are there Africans in El Salvador? Very, very few. And there's a history that I can't really go into detail about that, mostly because I just don't really 100% know it, but there is a history with Africans in El Salvador that maybe you could look into, but there's very few. Is El Salvador worth visiting? So let me break down what your trip to El Salvador might be like. You're going to fly into the international airport, which is really like off 45 minutes out of town. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And you're going to go from the airport, go through very easy customs, and then go to either San Salvador or towards the beach zone, El Tunco. And once you get to El Tunco, it's just going to be tourist city, like $10 per night hostels. I think I saw $7 someplace. It's going to be really hot. You're going to see people in tank tops and flip-flops and with surfboards. It's really a surfing city. If you go into the city of San Salvador, it's going to be a whole different story. You're going to see nightclubs. You're going to see the worst traffic on planet Earth. Tons of restaurants. What kind of food is El Salvadorian? It's really just like a spin-off of Mexican food. They love Mexican food. It's very similar. Lots of juices, lots of aloe, lots of fruits. The main supermarket is Super Selectos. Super Selectos is a fantastic grocery store. And it was something I missed. When I went to Costa Rica from El Salvador, I really, really missed how much better the fruit was that I could find in, maybe it's just where I was in Costa Rica, but I couldn't find good fruit in Costa Rica. I found, at least compared to El Salvador, like the fruit game in El Salvador was off the chain. What is El Salvador most famous for? I would say nowadays it's Bukele and Bitcoin. What type of money does El Salvador use? They use dollars everywhere, US dollars. There's supposed to be some El Salvadorian cologne, but the dollar is still the most common. You can use Bitcoin if you want. There's Bitcoin ATMs everywhere. They've got the Chivo wallet. But yeah. What are the most popular foods? I've gone over this. Man, people are asking a lot about these foods. Is El Salvador the best country in the world? Depends on who you ask. Is El Salvador a strong country? I can't think of a country that's gone through more recently, like in very recent years. Like the phrase, I don't even want to say the phrase, but there is a dreadful history of, you can't even talk about it. It's for a different video. But they recently had a horrible civil war. You can watch all types of documentaries on it. A difficult past. Is Latin America violent? There's a bit of violent crime in Latin America. It is an issue. You just have to be on your P's and Q's, or pay somebody to be on your P's and Q's for you. How much do houses cost in El Salvador? Houses in El Salvador are, in the city they can be expensive, $250,000 US, $500,000 US, all day long, depends on the location. But if you go out into the country, $35,000 you can get a condo in like an out of the city development. Those are everywhere. How much do houses cost in El Salvador? Probably between 30 grand and $500,000. Anything over 500 grand, you're not in a house anymore. You're in a multi-home compound. Is El Salvador a nice place to live? I found a lot of tranquility in El Salvador. It was just way too darn hot. Can an American buy property in El Salvador? Yes. Any foreigner can own property in El Salvador. Very easy. Is it cheap to live in El Salvador? Yes. It is damn. Food is cheap there, and cleaning is cheap there. And transport, Uber is very cheap there as well. Uber in Costa Rica is not cheap. What's the safest city in El Salvador? I mean, generally speaking, those coastal towns are fairly safe. But San Salvador is also very safe in the right areas. It's also very unsafe in some places. How cheap is it in El Salvador? I was a bit shocked at how expensive some of the apartments were on a monthly basis there. You could go anywhere from between $350 to $1,500 for a decent apartment. When I say decent, if you could get a decent apartment, it's $1,500, and it's just like, that's just what it is in some areas. So the real estate was not cheap. Rental's not cheap. Not like Thai cheap. Which country is the richest in the world? That I don't know. Like Luxembourg, probably something like that. Switzerland. How much does a nurse make in El Salvador? Between $1,000 and $3,500 per month. They don't have the same nurse accreditations as they do for the United States. So what you would call a nurse, maybe the definition's a little different. So yeah, between $1,000 and $3,500. Imagine people making $3,500 a month in El Salvador. They're living very nice. What religion is El Salvador? Roman Catholic. Are there jaguars in El Salvador? I think so. I think El Salvador has tons of big cats. I remember seeing some signs. I think so. Does El Salvador have nice beaches? Yeah, they have a beautiful west coast coastline of beaches. Can you swim in El Salvador? Absolutely. Going to the beach is fantastic for swimming. Are El Salvadorians friendly? I met many, many very friendly El Salvadorians. Can you use US dollars in El Salvador? Yes, you can. In fact, when it comes to individual dollars, they don't have paper dollars. They have coins. They have $1 Sacagawea coins, and they get worn out so much. They're like there's no replenishing those coins. So it's a bit interesting. It makes me wonder how much money gets completely worn out and not replaced in other countries, because it's a one-way road for them dollar bills and 20s. Like, those only go out, they never come back, and when they get worn out, they're done. How old do you have to be to buy alcohol in El Salvador? I think 18. I never saw anybody get ID'd. Is the USA richer than Canada? That's a strange question. Yeah, definitely. Is El Salvador richer than Guatemala? No. Guatemala is wealthier than El Salvador. Does El Salvador use child labor? Sadly, yeah, I think they do. How does El Salvador make money? Mostly on tourism and crops and manufacturing. How do the poor live in El Salvador? The poor live in... This is like, the poor that are not on the street. There's lots of poor on the street in El Salvador, but the poor that have homes are living in very cheaply constructed brick homes with dirt floors, and cooking on portable propane grills in their homes with sheets on the windows. Like, it is a level of poverty you can't comprehend. And the dust, and they're living in bad areas too. They're not living up in the beautiful mountains. They're living in the lowlands. It's hot. It's just wild. Couldn't imagine it. Is El Salvador the poorest country in Central America? Yes, it is. How much do doctors make in El Salvador? I couldn't imagine a doctor in El Salvador making, on average, more than 40,000 US dollars per year. What's the average income in El Salvador? That's a good question. I don't know the answer, but from BDX, it says the average monthly salary in El Salvador in 2018 was $403. That sounds about right. 400 bucks a month sounds about right. Where's my list? What is Santa called in El Salvador? Well, Santa has some different meanings. Like Easter in El Salvador is Semana Santa. I don't really think they have a name so much for Santa. Like, there is no Santa in El Salvador. That person is that's a American, Western fabrication for capitalism. Does it ever snow in El Salvador? God, no. Never. Is El Salvador poor or rich? It is darn poor. El Salvador is a very poor country. Let's see, do I have any other questions? Can a U.S. citizen live in El Salvador? Yes. Absolutely. Very easy to get residency there, and you can stay there for 90 days. And there's no limit on the number of times you can go in, so you can just do border runs on those 90 days. How much money can you take to El Salvador? That's up to $10,000. How much is a dollar worth in El Salvador? Well, a dollar is worth $1 in El Salvador. Can you travel to El Salvador without a passport? Not really. I mean, not legally at least. Anyway, that's it. That's my my 100 questions, more or less, on El Salvador. When I was there, I'll talk a little bit more. I stayed by Parque Maquilahuat. It was a nice apartment. I stayed on the top floor. I had a lookout over the Volcan El Salvador. It was very commercial. The city of San Salvador is all about McDonald's, Taco Bell, Mr. Coffee. There was the commercialization of El Salvador is something I won't forget. Is just so many big corporations like Walmart through and through. It is the city, at least, has very little native El Salvadorian culture. The beaches, however, are just beers and shrimp cocktails and just having a good time, man. That's the other side. So, I hope you got a lot out of that video. If you've made it this far, then give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and thank you for watching this video, and have a good day.